first case of the day, we bring to the floor active Allie and passive Patty. Now I'm going to give you all each a chance to give me your description of what really happened, and then I'll determine who's guilty. Alright, so Patty, I'll let you go first.
Okay. The bank, which was robbed, was not robbed by me. The car seen leaving the bank, which looked strikingly similar to mine, was not being driven by me. So I was blamed for stealing the money that was not stolen by me.
I'll be much more direct. I did not rob the bank, nor drive the getaway car. I did not steal the money.
Ooh, that's a tough one, but passive Patty, I think you're guilty. Did you see how much more direct active Allie was? I knew immediately what she was talking about from the beginning of her sentence. Good job, active Allie. You go free. You go to jail. Next case. Well, I'm glad we have that settled. Let's see what the next case we have here. Oh, we have Fresh Frank and Stale Sally to the stand. The question of focus is which one of you two scoundrels is guilty of murder?
Well, actions speak louder than words. I was walking and all that jazz when I innocently heard gunshots.
And you weren't behind the gun?
Of course not. But anywho, all's fair in love and war. But get out of my hair. Get my message?
I don't think I've ever heard more cliche phrases in all my years of being a judge. You, Fresh Frank, let's hear what you have to say.
I love this country and abide by all its laws. There's no flag big enough to cover the shame of killing innocent people.
Wow, that phrase really arrested me, and it surprised me so wouldn't me. You're innocent, Frank. You're going to jail. Next case, I'm going to take a short break and tell you what you can do to avoid crappy writing. We'll be back after these short messages. Hello, I'm Ryan Kinser, English genius. Does your writing suck? Are you getting 4s on your essays? Does Mr. LaFerrier tell you your writing sucks? If you answer yes to one or all of those questions, we have the tips for you. Number 1. Whenever you've written 3 longest sentences in a row, throw a short one in there. It'll help keep your paper flowing. Number 2. Occasional contractions are okay. It keeps your voice in the paper, keeps it interesting. Number 3. Prefer that to which. Number 4. Use I when you need to. Don't waste time trying to find a substitution. If you want to use I. Number 5. Use dashes for emphasis or humorous effect. Ha ha. Number 6. Professionals quote, amateurs paraphrase. Readers like dialogue. Number 7. The more abstract your argument, the more you should back it up with illustrations. Let the reader see what you're talking about. Let them visualize it. It really helps. Number 8. Minimize adjectives. Use accurate nouns. Number 9. Use strong verbs to minimize adverbs. Number 10. Use few and concise words. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Say what you need to say. Don't beat around the bush. Number 11.
Go.
Be sure each sentence connects with the one before and after it, so your paper isn't choppy. You gotta keep your paper flowing. Number 12. In a long essay or report, you need to constantly summarize your argument, so the reader doesn't forget what you're talking about. Refresh the reader. Remind them. Number 13. Answer any questions you bring up promptly. Alright, so if you ask a rhetorical question, give your reader an answer, or let them know you're going to give them an answer. 14. Use semicolons to avoid choppiness. Once again, we're talking about that flow, that ease that you need in your paper for readability. 15. Read your paper aloud. Always hear yourself say the words. 16. If you're listing several ideas or concepts, use numerals themselves inside parentheses, like a list. 1, 2, 3. 17. Spell numbers below 10. Use figures for anything above 10. Or just do whatever you're comfortable with. A lot of people differ on what to do, so just choose what you want to do when it comes to those numbers. 18. If you begin a sentence with and or but, don't put a comma after it. 19. So and yet, despite Mr. Leferrier's cautions, can make good leadoffs if used correctly. 20. As a sentence starter, prefer but to however. 21. Write with wit and good humor. Now this is one of those where it's really up to the writer to put in their voice, their humor, their personality. 22. Use a variety of paragraph sizes. You don't want to have your whole paper, giant paragraphs making the reader suffer. Change it up. Keep it flowing. 23. If you need to transition between two huge ideas, skip extra spaces. Let them know that there's a big transition between the ideas. 24. Titling is important. A weak title means a weak paper. 25. When we write, we tend to complicate. Slow down, reason with your perspectives, and just write in the voice that feels natural to you. Now, if you don't remember any of the tips I just listed off for you, that's okay, because if you call right now, we will send Ryan Kincer's 25 tips for readability to you absolutely free of charge. But you gotta call right now. Now, our next case to the floor, we have Analogy Atticus and Awful Analogy Anna. We'll start with Analogy Atticus, see what he has to say about that.
A man's wallet is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. But I am as innocent as a newborn calf still suckling on its mother's udder.
Oh boy, that really takes me back. What a great
That's
analogy.
right.
What a great analogy. Now, what do you have to say on this topic, theft, Anna?
I was as fast as a rabbit and stole a wallet like a boss. I mean, I am as innocent as a baby.
Guilty. Those were terrible, terrible analogies. There was no depth. There was no depth. Maybe you should take some lessons from old Atticus there. Maybe he can show you the way. Alright. Next case we're going to bring to the floor is a sensitive one. We got adultery coming up here with Malicious Max and Metaphor Molly. Malicious Max, how about you go first?
That woman is devil. She is dog. She cheated on me. I mean, her husband is dead.
He is a lowly, desperate mutt, wandering the strip clubs every night, lusting after women as a stray hound does in search of food. He cheated on me.
Well, you need to settle down.
That's right.
Don't you make those crappy metaphors in front of this fine woman over here. I vote guilty. Let's put this lousy metaphor making son of a gun in prison. Next case. Our next case, we have Godlike Gary and Honest Adam, both accused of plagiarizing on their college essays. We'll start with you, Gary. Win me over. Make me your brother.
I shall proclaim the pragmatic approach with which I expedited the writing of my erudite dissertation. My dear acquaintances, this predicament symbolizes the flaw of my unscrupulous nature, but does it not also symbolize a flaw in the court system as a whole? For you, my dear judge, you are most certainly no arbiter of my actions, for I answer only to God and God himself. He, not you, shall pass judgment upon my precious soul. Why should a rake like yourself be concerned that I received a certain quantity of unauthorized inspiration from a source that remained anonymous throughout my paper? Is there no decency in this profligate establishment? Your countenance betrays you, for I see it in your face that you truly concur that I am innocent. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. Thus, I leave my fate in the mortal hands of humanity.
What in the setting of no exit did you just say? I tell you, nothing ruffles my feathers like a man that thinks he's God when he picks up a pen. Seems that you got an extra serving of bullcorn in elementary school using all that dogma. Let's hear what Honest Adam has to say over here.
Well, I'm like every person in this room. I'm not perfect, and I made my fair share of mistakes. I made the mistake of plagiarizing, and I'm sorry for it. I've never been too good at writing, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to get better. This time, the time will come when I break my habit. The time will come when I become a better writer. The time will come when I finally succeed.
That's some great use of anaphora. Plus, I actually understand what she's saying. You said more in those few sentences with your honesty and straightforwardness than Gary could say in a lifetime with that BS generator he calls him now.
I think God like Gary is only putting up a facade. He's guilty. Case closed.
We got a real special case for our audience now. We have formally fake Fernando and informal Izzy, both accused of identity theft. What say you in your defense?
I have a nice little speech prepared. I have a dream that one day we, the people of the United States, will be able to share each other's identities without ridicule. To be or not to be someone else. That is the question. The only thing we have to identify is the identity itself. Let every man know, whether it wishes me well or ill, that I shall pay any price or burden to steal his identity if I want it. And so, my fellow jury, ask not what someone else's identity can do for you, but what you can do for someone else's identity.
That was a really great speech there, Martin Kennedy Roosevelt. And I believe I heard a line from the preamble there too. You did use sumptuousness when you said, and so my fellow jury, ask not what someone else's identity can do for you, but what you can do for someone else's identity. That was chastness. That was good use. But it seems like all you did was piece together other people's style from famous speeches. Was that your voice? Or is that Martin Luther King's voice? John F. Kennedy's voice? FDR's voice? It wasn't your voice. Okay. Maybe informal Izzy will have something more fresh and original to say.
Don't worry, Mr. President, I got mine written up here too. Alright, so here's what happened. I was like strolling behind this dude, and he was all like pimped out. I'm talking Rolex watch, gold chains, fancy shoes, the whole shebang. And I was like, dang! So when he dropped his wallet on the ground, I scooped that bad boy up and went to work. I tell you, I was rolling in that cash money.
Even with your use of antidepressants, both of y'all have the same problem. Neither of you have found the balance between formal and informal speech. Fernando, all you did was borrow from other styles. And all you did was talk in slang. Writing is not talking, alright? I need Urban Dictionary just to find out what the heck you were trying to say. I don't even know what you were trying to say. All you did was piece together little pieces of other people's writing, not your own. Both of y'all are guilty. Case is closed. Now our final case of the day, and perhaps the one that will have the most effect on a person's writing, concerns general English. Now what general English is the balance between formal and informal writing. It's perhaps one of the toughest things that a writer has to do. So we have John Smith and we have Pablo Garcia Hernandez. We'll start with you, John Smith.
In every man's life, there comes a time when he's faced with an important choice. One that will affect him for the rest of his days. A 17-year-old has no right trying to purchase alcohol. I drank to fit in. The law is the law, and I'm certainly not exempt from it. Fully accepting the blame for my own actions, I must now pay the consequences, and I will pay them in full.
I like your balance between formal and informal speech. It sounded very genuine, very heartfelt. What do you have to say about this, Pablo?
Pues, yo no hablo inglés, así que no comprendo a tu pregunta. Pero ese hombre es muy sabio y experto. ¿Qué es esto?
Alright, Senor Espinado, whatever the heck your name is. I think we've had just about enough. I don't think there's any competition here. I think Pablo's guilty. Case closed. Well, we've all got families to get back to, so I hereby declare an end to all cases for the day. We'll see you next time on Judge Ryberry.
Peace out.